eyes do not deceive you. For once, I have a giant book haul on this channel. The last time I think I filmed a substantially sized book haul was what, like a year and a half, 2 years ago? I've had little smattering book hauls of like 4 or 5 books, but I'm excited to just have one of those typical giant booktube book hauls to just show you a bunch of brand new titles. Well, new ones to me. What's even better for me is that all of these were free, literally all of them, which is always exciting. 3 were sent to me by Penguin Books. I'm sure you guys will probably recognize these. They've been in a lot of booktube videos. I went through the list and picked out a few that I was interested in. And the rest I have to thank my friend Sam for and give her a bit of a shout out. She was one of my roommates in college. We graduated and she had to send everything she owned back in 4 or 5 of those college boxes, if you've heard of those. She had literally hundreds of books crammed into her tiny dorm room. It was insane. She made a big pile of the ones she wasn't interested in anymore since she couldn't bring them all back home, and my other friend and I kind of rummaged through and picked all the ones we were interested in. Also, I recently Instagrammed a photo of this. This is my TBR shelf, and a lot of you guys said you wanted to see a tour. That will be my next video, but I wanted to obviously show you all the new books before the majority of them ended up on the shelf. So I will start off with the new YA releases from Penguin. First is The Merciless by Danielle Vega. I love the cover of this book. It doesn't have a dust jacket. And then on the inside it says, "For mature audiences only." This is a very graphic horror novel, and I'm not going to talk too much about it because I actually just finished it, and I'll be reviewing this and Rebel Belle and another Stephen King book in an upcoming video. Next is Inland by Kat Rosenfeld. This is about a girl who suffers from, I can't remember if it's panic attack or just general breathing problems after her mother drowned. They moved away inland. Now that they've relocated near a river or ocean or on the coast, something like that, she feels this kind of supernatural pull to the ocean. I haven't actually read anything by her, but she did write, what was it called? Maria is Dead and Gone. I can't find it, but you guys know the book I'm talking about, and I heard nothing but good things about that, so I'm excited to get into this. I also love the cover of this one. This is Love and Other Foreign Words by Mcmahon. This seems to be a book about love, but not just romantic love, friendship love, family love, everything like that. And I'm excited to get into a YA book that's not just focused on love, that it's romantic, you know, the insta love, but also but all of the different facets of love. Now we're going to get into all of my friends' books, and I'm especially excited about these because they aren't ones necessarily that I would have bought on my own or even checked out from the library on my own, but they all sparked my interest for different reasons. And while I love more so psychological thrillers and horror, you'll see she has quite different taste in books. I'm excited to be reading some I typically normally wouldn't have picked up. The first one is one that I believe I've already read. I actually can't, it would have been so long ago, but I remember seeing the movie and being horrified at that infamous scene where they push the rock off the cliff, if you know what I'm talking about. But this is Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Next is Armageddon in Retrospect by Kurt Vonnegut. I was recently reading Cat's Cradle a few weeks ago and lost it, which is extremely frustrating because I was about halfway through and I had been meaning to read that for so long. This is apparently 12 short writings, and I had not heard of this one previously. Please tell me I'm not the only one who's weirdly obsessed with his face. Next is The Rose Garden by Susanna Kearse. The back of this book is fairly vague, but it seems to be about a woman who returns to her home on the coast, and there's something to do with ghosts, and it's also a romance. It might be historical, I'm not exactly sure. Both of my friends had actually read this book for required reading, I believe, in high school. I'd actually never heard of it, but it's called A Long Way Gone, Memoirs of a Soldier by Ishmael Bia. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right. This is his account of being a child soldier in Sierra Leone. Next, I have The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I've been meaning to read a lot more horror classics, so I was excited to pick this one up. I read the back of this and I still have no idea what this is about, but it's Gilead by Marilynne Robinson. It says she also wrote Housekeeping, which I believe is the book that Adulterous Books has been trying to get me to read. I can't remember. I think so. Still don't know what it's about. I have this little painting that says Zen shit on it. You guys can probably see why I liked it. I'm honestly not too interested in this book. I picked it up more so just because I had remembered 5 years ago maybe hearing so much about this, but this is The American Wife by Susan, The American Wife by Curtis Sittenfeld. I remember hearing a lot of controversy about this book because if I remember correctly, it's slightly based off of Laura Bush's life, but then a lot of her people are saying no, there's no correlation between the two. So let me know if you read this and if you think it would be something I would like, because I'm honestly not too interested. Next is another classic, and that is The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. Looking at all the authors for these books, I'm sort of getting the impression that a lot of these are probably required reading for her classes, but this is The Genius and the Goddess by Aldous Huxley. I read Brave New World in high school and absolutely loved it, so I'm excited for this one, although I've never heard of it before, so let me know if you have read it. Now we have a book that I've actually already read previously a few years back, and that is Choke. One of his more popular books is Fight Club, and I actually couldn't really get into that one, but Choke is one of my favorite books of all time. This is about a sex addict, and it's extremely and darkly funny. I'm a little embarrassed to say I've actually never read The Catcher in the Rye. Surprisingly, whenever I hear people talk about this, is people saying it's either their favorite book of all time and it is extremely influential in their life, or they say that they read it after hearing that and absolutely hated it. So I'm interested to see which camp I'm going to fall into. This is another one like The American Wife where I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it. I did read Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. This is The Secret Share and Other Stories, and I did enjoy it, but after reading what the stories in this book are about, it doesn't really spark my interest, but again, let me know if you've read it. Unfortunately, this one no longer has the dust jacket, but this is The River Midnight by Lillian Nadel. Online, the way they describe this, it almost seemed a little bit reminiscent of Deathless by Catherine M. Valente, which you guys know I wouldn't shut up about for a while, and I absolutely loved, in the sense that it takes place back in time in history. I believe this takes place in Poland during World War II, but it also intertwines a lot of folklore and mythology from that time. And it's about four women, I believe. One's a midwife, one is sort of just become pregnant out of wedlock, and she's sort of the wild child. But next we have an autobiography, and I've heard a lot of great things about this, and this is Angela's Ashes by Frank Mccourt. Frank Mccourt is an Irish author. I actually haven't read anything by him, but this book consists of anecdotes of his childhood growing up in poverty in New York and Ireland. Look at the little baby's face! And finally, we have Thus Spoke Zarathustra. I'm not sure. I've taken 4 or 5 philosophy classes, so obviously we've talked a bit about Nietzsche, but most of my classes were more focused, say, on St. Thomas Aquinas, Aristotle. I get the impression that for some reason the majority of my philosophy teachers just weren't a fan of Nietzsche, so they would kind of discuss him for about one day, but I was always interested, but I haven't read anything by him, so let me know if you think this book would be a good place to start with him, or if you'd recommend something else, and then I come back to this. So that is my giant book haul. Again, let me know which books you'd like to see me review. Make sure you subscribe. I never say any of this stuff, but I do have a Twitter and Instagram and Tumblr and Goodreads, so make sure you go and follow /subscribe on all of those if you're interested, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.